Hey everybody, I'm Diane Gale and welcome to my channel Sustainable Slow Living. Today you and I are going to make caponata together. Caponata is an eggplant dish that is really fabulous. I've eaten it many times. I'm going to tell you right up front, I've only made it a few times, so I have my cheat sheet here because I don't know the recipe that well, but it is a great recipe. It is something that you're going to enjoy. It's a way to use up that eggplant from the garden, and it's crazy easy to make, so let's get started. Now, before I joined you here today, I took a large size eggplant. I used a white eggplant. I actually used like an almost large white eggplant and a small black eggplant. I don't know the botanical names for them, even the common names I really don't. You can use any eggplant for this recipe. Experiment with eggplant and find out what your favorite variety is. They all have a slightly different flavor, but what I'm using today is a white and a black. You really only need one large eggplant, but smaller eggplants generally have better flavor, so you might want to just gather up a few that kind of equal a large. Anyway, I took the eggplant and I cut it into 3/4 to 1 inch pieces, and then I salted it with 2 teaspoons of salt. I put it in a colander, put the salt over it, ran that salt through, by tossing it with my fingers, and I let it sit for about 2 hours. Now, you don't have to let it sit that long, and it will brown a little bit sitting, but if you want to take and put a wet rag over top, that will help with the browning. I didn't do that. I just let it sit. I let the salt pull some of the water out, and then I rinsed it really well, and I laid it out on a flour sack towel, a towel that leaves no lint behind, and folded the towel over and dried it all off, and here it is. You do want to rinse the salt off of it, and you do want to dry it off because the point is to get the water out. So that eggplant is ready for the dish, but that's not what we're going to start with. We're going to start with our celery and our onions. Now, I've started heating this Dutch oven up, and I have put about a tablespoon of olive oil in it. I'm going to add 3 stalks of celery that I have just sliced. I don't know if you can see those. Oh, they're probably about a 1/4 inch thick. And then I'm going to add 1 medium onion that I've diced. Probably medium dice, medium to large dice. We're not going for super small veggies here. And then we're going to take and we're going to cook that celery and that onion just until it's translucent. So while the celery and the onion is cooking, let me tell you a little bit about what eggplant caponata is in case you don't already know. I researched the origins of caponata just ever so briefly on Google, who is sometimes your friend and sometimes not so much. And what I found is that the claim is that it originated in Sicily. Now, I've also seen claims that it's a Greek dish. There's some crossover between Italian and Greek cuisine, yet there are some distinct differences. I am really not sure what the truth is. I am going to go with originated in Sicily. Doesn't really matter if it's Greek or if it's Italian. I mean, I'm sure it does to some people, but to me, it doesn't really matter. It's a delicious dish. Like I said earlier, this dish is really easy to make, and it can be used in several different ways in the kitchen, or maybe I should say on the table. You can serve it warm or you can serve it cold as a dip. It makes an amazing dip. Maybe a little bit better suited for topping like a toasty bread, more like a bruschetta or bruschetta. And it can also be used as a relish or a salsa. It's particularly complementary to chicken and fish. You can use it to serve alongside your chicken or fish dinner, or you can use it to top a chicken or fish dinner. It has tons of flavor, so the great thing about it is You can cook your chicken or your fish just very simply with some salt, some pepper, and some garlic. And then use this caponata as a topping, and you have a really amazing dish. Once your celery and your onion have cooked until they're really pretty translucent, you're going to go ahead and you're going to take 2 cloves of garlic and you're going to put them in the pan, and then you're going to let that cook down for about a minute more. Now you can mince your garlic by hand without any problem. I like to use a garlic press. I know that not everyone has one. If you do have one, it's a particularly great tool for this task. Once that garlic is in there, I'm going to stir this up. I'm going to let it cook for about a minute more. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the celery and the onions out of the pan and put them in another dish, because we're going to cook the eggplant down in this same pan as well. So I've got that celery and that onion cooked and I have it in a separate dish. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add about another tablespoon of oil to this Dutch oven. And then I'm going to put the eggplant in here to brown. Alright you guys, so we have this eggplant browned, and once you're there, once you've got that done, you're kind of pretty much there with this recipe. You're going to take and you're going to add your celery and onions back in. You're going to add in a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes with the juice. Now you can use fresh tomatoes for this. You can use a fresh plum tomato, it's outstanding. Just make sure that you don't depulp them. Keep all of the pulp and all of the juice. Like, don't lose it all on a cutting board. Keep it all together so that it all goes right into the pan. And then we're going to add in a half a cup of pitted Kalamata olives. I did take the time to slice the olives in half because I want them to spread more evenly throughout the dish. And we're going to take and we're going to add in a half a cup of diced roasted red pepper, and a medium dice. Again, you kind of want when you're cooking, most of the time you want your vegetables to be sort of a uniform size. So you cut your eggplant 3/4 to 1 inch, and you kind of consider what's going to shrink down and what's not when you're cutting the rest of your vegetables. And then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of drained capers. Capers are one of the best parts of this recipe. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. We're going to add in 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and we're going to add in a little more salt. Now, we rinsed away the salt from the eggplant after we soaked it. I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon of salt in here because it is still kind of salted. A little bit. I'm sure that eggplant picked up some of that salt flavor. And then you're just going to stir this all up, and you are going to let it cook down until it is tender. Once it is cooked down and everything is tender, you're going to go ahead and you're going to let it just sit for 20 minutes. You're going to turn your heat off and just let it sit for 20 minutes. And you're going to do that whether you're serving it as a warm dip. You're going to do it if you're serving it to garnish chicken or fish. You really want to do it no matter what you're doing with this dish. Just let it sit and let it stew once the heat has been turned off for about 20 minutes. So this caponata recipe is part of a Cook the Garden series that I have started here on the channel. We have done 2 tomato recipes and a what to do with garden fresh tomatoes video. We have done 2 zucchini recipes and a what to do with garden fresh zucchinis video. And we are doing 2 eggplant recipes. This is the first. We'll also be doing pasta alla NORMA, and I'll be doing a what to do with garden fresh eggplant. video. And then next year when the garden season opens up, I'm going to do some other vegetables. I kind of want to make this a go-to spot for you to pick up great ideas for what to do with your garden fresh vegetables. In addition to these videos, there are videos that I have done in the past, like pico de Gaia, and which is, you know, garden fresh tomatoes, and just several videos that I've done in the past that use garden fresh veggies, and they will be linked down below along with all of the links for the Cook the Garden series. So go ahead and check out all of those links. And while you're here on the channel, if you like what you see, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button, and if you hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time that I put out a new video. Alright you guys, so I got this finished up and I snagged a couple pictures here for the thumbnail for this video. I took some fresh garden basil that I had and I sliced it and put some on top. You can garnish the top of your caponata that way. It adds a great flavor. And then I didn't have a slice of bread around to eat this with, and I said to you it's pretty good on a toasted slice of bread. But I did have these French crouton, these like baguette croutons. This is still pretty warm. These were up in the kitchen in the restaurant, so I snagged just a couple of those to give this a taste with you. This combines that fresh garden vegetable, garden fruit actually, of eggplant with the brined vegetables, you know, the roasted red peppers and the Kalamata olives. And the combination is very classically Mediterranean. It's just an amazing dish. Fabulous, just like this. And I put it in this little crock because this is a great way for you to, this one is a little big, but you can do little crocks and serve it as an appetizer with a meal. You know, just put some of these little baguette slices or some other kind of little crusty cracker or bread and serve it at a dinner party as an appetizer, like individually portioned. But here we go. Let's get a taste. So very good, you guys. I am an eggplant lover. I know that many people don't like or don't think they like eggplant. But the thing about eggplant is you have to make sure that it's not bitter when you cook it. So pro tip for this caponata: when you're browning down your eggplant, you can't cook it all the way because then it will cook too much after you add in the other veggies. But cook it quite a bit, because cooking it is what takes the bitterness out. You want to get the bitterness out of the eggplant before you add all of your other veggies, especially that tomato juice, because you don't want the bitterness to infuse into the dish. This is a great dish. It's something different. If you love Mediterranean food, you are going to love it. Even if you don't, or if you're not sure, it's very likely that you will love it. Have the recipe so that you're not making nearly as much and give it a try. Even quarter the recipe so that you're not making nearly as much and give it a try. You're gonna love it. I hope you do try it. I hope you enjoy every bite. And as always, thank you so very much for being here with me today. You and I are going to get together again, and we are going to do it really soon.